Hello and welcome to a special edition of WithJosh.com. I'm Josh Skinner on location in Minnesota with Eleanor Mondale.
Special edition.
A special edition. I've never traveled outside of California.
Oh,
Yes.
but it feels just like LA.
It does, yeah, but it's freezing. Yeah, thanks for the jacket.
Yeah.
So Eleanor, let's start at the beginning. You're 17 and you're living in the vice president's house.
Yeah.
What was that like? Of course, Eleanor's dad is Walter Mondale. Let's start from the beginning. What was that like?
Well, my 17th birthday was the night before the inauguration,
What?
so that was a pretty big night. And we moved in the next day. It's a huge mansion. You know, we lived in a regular sort of home, and we had a staff of servants. So, and there was a little clipboard you could fill out what you wanted for breakfast and lunch.
Wow.
So I gained a lot of weight. Like everything I wanted, you know, waffles and then cream cheese and avocado sandwiches and, you know.
Was it kind of overwhelming?
I liked it.
Okay.
My dad says that I adapt well to opulence.
How do you think the media treated you as a kid? I mean, growing up in the spotlight, it's got to be hard.
They weren't bad. It was a time when the media didn't go after your personal life so badly. You know, I think that changed when Gary Hart was caught with a young lady, and he told the media to follow him. I think that opened a door that wasn't open before.
Now, how did you go from Washington, D.C. to Hollywood? What was that transition?
Well, I always knew I was going to be a movie star, so as you see,
Right.
I achieved my goal. I studied acting with different coaches and stuff, but then getting out there and getting on auditions, I had a friend from college who is still casting out there, Don Pemrick. He helped me along a little bit in the beginning, helped me get my SAG card. And I just didn't want to do politics, and that's kind of the other thing people thought when I'd go for a job. Oh, do you want to be a political reporter? No. I like to keep my political thoughts to myself.
Why is that?
Well, just because I don't think anyone who talks to me who may think differently than I do politically is not going to change my mind.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily sure I'm going to change somebody else's mind. And I don't want to try and do it on TV, and I don't want to act like I don't have an opinion.
Do you still follow politics?
Yeah. I'm relieved that we have now our second senator sworn in, Al Franken.
Yeah.
That was a long and disgusting recount, so that was sort of that's sort of where I stopped.
So why did you, after L.A. and New York and going back and forth, why did you move back to Minnesota the past few years?
Well, my parents are getting older, and my grandmother, who is now passed, was getting older, and I just thought, I don't want to get that call that they're dead. You know, I want to come home. I want to be with my family. So I moved from New York back here, and I thought, I'm going to find a job. So I called a friend of mine, and he found me a job with ESPN, working with the National Thoroughbred Racing Association, which I did for a couple years. Ended up at WCCL Radio, and that's where I would be working now if I didn't have cancer.
Will you take me back to 2005? I mean, a lot of people sent a ton of email to my website when I announced that I was going to be interviewing you.
Oh, the cancer?
Yeah, the cancer. And you have so many fans that are just say that you're an inspiration to them, and that if you can do it, they can get through it. And what was it like?
I recommend not getting it to begin with.
Right.
But how can you do that? I have still no idea how I got it. The doctors don't know either. Of course, they're trying to figure it out, but I had no idea. I just had this sort of weird vision thing for a couple weeks that I always used to get when I got home from a long trip. I just thought it was kind of like a 40-plus-some-year-old weird jet lag thing.
Right.
But before I had the seizures, which I'd never had in my life, the vision thing turned into sort of like, then I got scared because I thought, then I sort of was getting weird, like I thought someone was looking at me and they weren't. So I thought, what do I do? And Chan said, well, go to a doctor. I go, well, they're just going to give me glasses? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. Well, I had a tumor in my head about that big.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I went and took my big horses, went on a trail ride a couple hours away with a friend of mine who came in to visit from Pennsylvania, who I met in LA. And we rode, and then I had some other friends that lived nearby the park came over, and we ate dinner, and they left, and then we went to bed, and sometime in the middle of the night I had a seizure. And my friend thought it was my Rottweiler having a, like a
Right.
nightmare. but it wasn't. It was me having a seizure. And so she got me back to bed, and I had another one. So she's like, we gotta get you to the hospital. And I said, I don't have seizures.
Right.
This isn't something that I do.
Yeah.
But apparently I did. And it was the tumor. It wasn't like anything that I would have had otherwise, because the tumor was so big. But otherwise I had no indication. I didn't have headaches. I have headaches now, but I never used to get headaches. So I went to this hospital in Minneapolis, and they did an MRI, and they diagnosed me as having MS.
Well, that's not right.
No, it was so wrong.
Yeah.
So sent me home and said, just keep your seizure med levels right, check with the doctor. And Dad and I both felt that it couldn't be right, so we went to the Mayo Clinic and met with the MS guy, and he said, you don't have a single symptom. And met with the epilepsy guy, and he said, you don't have epilepsy. So then we met with the brain cancer guys. And indeed, what it turned out to be. So it's been just long and ongoing, and
For 4 years.
yeah. It just,
I mean, do you have healthy periods?
yeah.
Where you feel great, like back to
I-
normal?
I had 2 years of feeling great after the first round.
Right.
And then it came back. Then they operated on it, and then I was clear for 7 months, not even a year. It came back, and they operated almost a year, or they found it. They operated it in March, and then it came back by January. So that's what this last one was the coming back in that short period of time. And that was disheartening, because I thought, I'm doing everything right, and eating good food, and doing my yoga, and why me? I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. But
When you ask yourself why me, what's
I didn't do
what's
a
the
lot of that.
answer? What's the answer that you give yourself? How do you get through it?
you don't answer that question, because nobody knows. You just say, what do I have to do today? Well, I have to take my pills, I have to keep them down, and think good things.
Are you currently going through chemotherapy?
Yeah, only this time it's different. I'd only done pills before,
Right.
and they make you really nauseous. And now I'm doing an IV chemo, but it's actually called Avastin, and it's new and it's really good. It's an antibody, so your body thinks it made it itself. So I get an IV for half an hour, and then I'm done.
Now, what would you say to your fans that are also going through some kind of cancer? Like, do you have any words of wisdom, or?
I don't know, mine keeps coming back, but what I definitely say is keep people away from you that are negative.
Okay.
Because if someone's coming over every day saying you're going to die, what am I going to do without you, then you're going to get sucked into that. And you need to think, I'm not going to die. It's not going to get me. I'm going to be all right. Make sure you're comfortable with your doctors. Make sure you're confident that they know what they're doing. And I don't know, you'll probably play this after I die. But, I don't know, mine keeps coming back, and that's the thing that makes me so mad, is like, is this going to be the rest of my life? But there's nothing I can do to change it, except do what I'm doing. Yes. So,
Well,
I would just say, surround yourself with positive people. Don't get too dragged down into it. The whole why me thing doesn't really help, but you should allow yourself to have a good cry every now and then, because you need to release that.
I think you are an amazing person, and I honestly mean that. I think you are an inspiration, no matter what people are going through. Your story, you've gone through so much, positive, negative, but you're a fighter.
Yeah,
And you
is
have to
not
be in
how
this
I
industry.
planned.
Yeah.
I did not plan my life this way. I didn't think, right before I turned 50, I was going to be battling cancer still. Ever. I never thought I'd get it.
Now, is there a place that fans can contact you, or more information about you? Do you have a blog, or?
I'm on Karen Bridge.
Okay. And I'll link that to my
but
website.
I haven't really gone on there recently. I think I went on after the surgery saying surgery's over, and what can you say? I'm tired all the time.
Yeah.
That's not very interesting reading. Hi, Ellen.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and your farm is unbelievable, just amazing. Well, Eleanor and Owen, thank you very much, and thanks for watching with Josh.com.